everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Good Girls Get Rich podcast. I'm your host, Karen Yankovich, and I am so excited to have this conversation today. I've got Allie Theiss with us today, and Allie and I have known each other for a lot of years. She's been a client. We've had a lot of amazing conversations. And she posted something on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago that I was like, I want to talk about that on my podcast. And that topic was, how does menopause affect your work and your business? And it is a thing, man. I, personally can attest to that. So let me tell you a little bit about Allie. Allie is a board certified sexologist, menopause care provider, and PhD candidate in mind-body medicine. She's the founder of Menopause Wellness and the Passion Zone, where she helps women in midlife reclaim vitality, intimacy, and confidence through her signature frameworks, Thrive for menopause health, and She Be Me for sexual wellness. Allie integrates science, holistic practices, and sensual mindset work to transform how women experience their bodies, relationships, and desires during menopause and beyond. So let me bring Allie up here and let's chat. Allie, I'm so happy to be doing this with you today. You know how much I love the work you do.
Hello, Karen. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited to do this. So before we get into all the good stuff,
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit behind the bio. What kind of brought you to doing what you're doing today? And that's a big question to start off with, but do your best.
I'll try to make it as concise as possible. The bottom line is I hit perimenopause and my effing medical professionals dismissed me. Mm-hmm. That's what it came down to.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh no.
Eat less, move more,
here's your anxiety meds.
Right.
This is all you need. Take these meds.
Right.
What a bunch of BS.
Right.
So that's what got me to start doing the deep dive on menopause. And that's actually what got me to go back to school for my PhD in mind-body medicine.
I love that because, in every single solitary part of our lives, our minds can get in the way of our success, so I love, I have such I thoroughly respect Western medicine. I will take the medicine when I think I need the medicine. I also haven't taken an antibiotic in like 30 years, but I would if tomorrow I thought that there was a need for it. Right. So if I can find a way to stay healthy. I remember having a conversation one time at a family dinner and everybody's talking about, the medication that they're on and their blood pressure medicine and this and that. And I'm like, you all make fun of me going for acupuncture, but I don't have any of that medication. I take thyroid medication, but I'm not taking any of that stuff. It just was so eye-opening to me to listen to everybody around me talking about just the laundry list of medications. And I would take it if I needed it. Like I said, I take my thyroid medicine, right? But I would rather you say to me, give me a month, give me 2 months. Let me see, let me see if I can work this out somehow. And that's where I think the mind body comes into play.
It does. It does. Once you start making lifestyle changes, mindful mindset changes, if supplements, if needed, it can open up a whole new world that isn't driven by taking the almighty pill at 4 p.m.
Right. So when you decided you wanted to do this, how did you start to move this into your career as opposed to just something you were doing for yourself?
Oh, well, since I'm Gen X and most of my friends are around my age, I got into plenty of conversations about menopause, and we were like, we don't know what the heck this stuff is. Our moms, if they even spoke about it, it was all about hot flashes.
Right.
Hot flashes, mood swings. That's what we heard. But the laundry list of over 60 different symptoms that women can get drove me into, instead of just talking about it with friends, really setting out to help women with menopause, because there are not enough people out there who are educated in menopause to lend support.
Yeah. And, we can't, I don't think anybody listening, regardless of where you stand on whatever the Eastern, Western mind, body medicine spectrum, I think anybody knows, any woman especially knows that hormones are a thing. Like I remember back in the day, when I had regular cycles, I remember like having these like moments and then be like, oh, wait, what time of the month is it? Like I could recognize, and there were other times of the month and I'm like, oh, this is it. This is my productive week. Let's get moving.
Yeah.
So for real, it's been a thing. And then all of a sudden, it's like this cyclone or roller coaster of hormones. And then,
Oh,
and we're supposed to just continue with our life. You know, it's Tuesday, right? So, I know we can talk, there's so many angles on this, but what I really love and what I really wanted to talk about today is the angle on how it affects your ability to have a career, whether you're an entrepreneur or you work, you have a paycheck. It's so not talked about, right? It's so not talked about. So let's talk about it from that perspective, right? Like,
sure.
What kind of impact does menopause have on our productivity? Let's just start with that.
Oh my gosh, it seeps its way into every facet of our life, including the workplace, whether you work for somebody else or you work for yourself. I'm self-employed, so I work for myself, and there are days because of menopause, not as frequently now as when I started with perimenopause. I didn't want to get out of bed. It was difficult to get out of bed and actually put a cohesive sentence together because of being tired, because I'm not sleeping well, body aches, hot flashes, and brain fog. You add those things up for being self-employed, and it takes some juggling in order to get stuff out that you need to get out for the day, right? And talk to the people you need to get out too. When you work for somebody, most workplaces don't even recognize that women go through menopause. It's not even a blip on their map anywhere. So it's like, she forgot about a meeting. There was a deadline that wasn't met. She's not getting along with her team all of a sudden. She's taking a lot of days off. Why is this? What's going on? So it interferes with productivity quite a bit.
Well, and it's such an interesting thing to think about, because if you have a paycheck, you get up, you take a shower, you get in your car and you go to work, regardless. And and we could say that as an entrepreneur, aren't we lucky that we can spend the day in bed when we want to spend the day in bed? But really, that's not true, because our business isn't getting done, right? Like our business isn't getting done. Our money's not getting made. I don't know that there's a right, I don't know if there's a better or a worse there, right? It affects them equally because it is a thing. And I'm sure I've said this on this show many times, like, what if you spent the next week, getting out of bed and taking a shower and sitting at your desk by 8 a.m. and staying there till 5 p.m., just like you would have if you had a paycheck job to go to. Like, how would that affect your business? And it's easy to say that, right? But it's not so easy to do that in either case. In either case, when you have all this crazy stuff going on in your body and in your mind, and when you have those productive moments, it's like, oh my gosh, hallelujah, because you remember them and you just like, it's kind of like, oh God, remember when you could sit down and spend 2 hours at your desk straight and get stuff done, So how can we, like, what do we do about that? Like, what do we do about that productivity thing? Because it's not just about what your boss expects of you. Because as for many entrepreneurs, you're self-driven. So now I'll use myself as an example. Now I'm beating myself up because I'm not doing what I need to be doing. And, that certainly doesn't help anything.
No, it helps nobody.
Right. But I'm annoyed and pissed. And, I'm like, God, I just need to get this done. Why can't I get it done?
Yeah. I have found that to get some good productivity out of a workday for women who are going through menopause, you know what part of the day works the best for you. For a lot of women, it's in the morning. So you get your real heavy stuff, you've got to dive in and get stuff done in the morning. Because by the afternoon, it could be very easy that the brain fog kicks in. I talk to a lot of clients in the afternoon, and with brain fog, I would just be talking like I'm talking to you to tell them something. And as the words are coming out, they float away. They just float away. I don't know where they go.
Yeah.
Eventually they bounce back like a boomerang. But because I've paid attention to when I work the best, I don't take clients after a certain period, certain time of the day,
Yep.
because I know my brain fog will be worse then than it is in the morning. And also, I mean, not only brain fogs, but you have to work around the hot flashes, the body aches, the joints that just don't want to move the way that you want them to. So it's good to pay attention and keep some sort of journal.
That's a good
Okay,
idea.
it's 2:00 on a Tuesday. This is what I'm having problems with. And that way you can map out your schedule, whether you're working for somebody or you're working for yourself. Working for somebody to change your schedule, it takes a lot more doing, because there's usually other schedules on top of
Right.
yours. Right.
Right.
So
I have absolutely said to people, "Oh no, we need to do this with my morning brain. Like we need
mhm.
to reschedule this. I need to be doing this with a morning brain." And it's a thing. It's a thing. Like I should probably do all my marketing to people in the UK instead of on the West Coast, because they'll get my morning brain more. And people on the West Coast want to talk to me at 5:00. Um,
Yeah.
and because so there's one thing, but is there a way? So knowing that and working with that
Mhm.
again, and that is one of the benefits of having running your own business. You can create those kinds of
Correct.
um, situations, and that's why a lot of people are. I think that's why a lot of women, especially, do leave corporate earlier than men. Because then they go out as consultants and board positions and things like that because they have these situations. But are there other things like, and I don't even really know your position on all of this, but are there like,
Mhm.
what about all these people selling all these supplements and all of these,
Uh,
programs and I don't even mean programs. I mean, there's like, obviously there's meditations and hypnosis and supplements. Like, where do you even begin with all that stuff?
well,
Besides
your best.
you.
Yeah, but besides talking to myself or a menopause professional, um, you really have to start doing your own research if you're not talking to somebody who's educated in menopause. The supplement industry is in the billions and especially for menopause,
Hmm.
because there really wasn't anything on the market until us Gen X hit
Hmm.
menopause, and we were so pissed off about the
And as you get to
symptoms.
that age, you typically have a couple more bucks in your wallet. So you'll pay, I have a bowl of right here of supplements I haven't taken yet. You'll pay
Yes.
an insane amount of money for a
Oh
whatever the
yeah.
heck this is, for fish
Right.
oil,
Fish
you
oil. So
know?
that's like fish
Right.
oil.
Right. Right, for fish oil.
Yeah. And
If it
people
could, because
think
we want that magic pill, right? We
we
want
do.
that magic pill.
We do. And the thing about supplements, and I help a lot of women with intimacy too, and that supplement market has gone off the deep end. It's huge. Because there are over 60 something different symptoms that any of us can get. Not all women react the same way to menopause. We're not all going to get the same symptoms. And all of these supplements, acupuncture, meditation, maintaining your frequency, essential oils, flower essences, HRT, hormone replacement therapy, all of it depends on the person. What works for me won't necessarily work for you at all, even if it's the same thing, the same brand. You're taking the same dose, it won't have the same effect for you. So it really is kind of a crapshoot. Figure out what works. I keep lists of things that I know that I've worked with my clients. And so when I recommend any type of supplement, I already have proof that it's worked for somebody in the past. But I
Right.
always tell them it may not work exactly for you as it did this person, but it has worked for somebody. So,
Yeah. I personally feel like I don't personally have the insight into my own body, I guess, to know
mhm.
whether if I take it or not, if it makes a difference, so I take them,
Yeah.
and I use things like my blood work and things like that
Oh,
to
yeah.
say, okay, like I've got, like, in this little bowl is also vitamin D. I know that taking vitamin D, my vitamin D levels are better than not. And in the
Yeah.
summer, I like to let nature help me out with that a little bit too, but I live in New
Yes.
Jersey, and if you're watching this on video, you can see behind me, there's a monsoon. So will be no vitamin D in New Jersey this time of year. at least for
None
me.
here in Ohio. Not here in Ohio either. We're in the middle of a storm as well. So
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so I want to get back to that, but let's stick
sure.
for now with like workplace accommodations and things
Okay.
like that. Like, what can you do if you've got, like, because I want to, well, let's talk about this from the perspective of we have a paycheck job, but if you don't, I want you to use the same, like, again, how would your business be different if you treated it as if you had a boss waiting for you to sit at your desk at 9 a.m.,
Right.
right? So, either way, like, what are some accommodations that might make a difference?
Well, according to the article that I read when I posted that LinkedIn post, it was from
Mm-hmm.
AARP. The number one symptom that women complain about are hot flashes. And nothing worse than having a hot flash in the middle of a meeting, right? Or try to talk to somebody. I always recommend having a fan at your desk. I have a very nice fan over here to my right. It's usually on even in the wintertime for me. So having a fan, wearing they make clothes out of this cooling fabric now. You can buy the clothes with the cooling fabric. They also make blankets so you sleep well at night. A lot of people get hot at night
Mm-hmm.
for that as
I've
well.
heard that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, it has happened a time or two. Um, well ventilated spaces is a good idea. If employers could have what I call a cool room. So if the temperature out in the main office is 70, but the cool room is kind of like 55,
Mm-hmm.
then you can step in there and let the hot flash pass, cool down a bit, and then be able to step back out again. And that could help wonders. Having knowing where all your vents are at, whether at work or at home in your office,
Mm-hmm.
and moving around your furniture to accommodate the coolness that comes in, or maybe the heat. Because also, strange enough, as we age, we get colder faster.
Right. Right.
So we have that
Yeah.
going on too. So it depending on where you sit, it's always good to have some stress-free time. If at work, if you have to go into the bathroom in a stall for 5 minutes, just sit there and just breathe. I just tell people, just breathe. Doesn't have to be
Right.
deep breaths, but that'll help center yourself enough to go back out and deal with whatever you have to deal with. Because my office, I have plenty. I use a lot of essential oils. I use a lot of crystals and stones in my practice, and so my office is full of stones. Nice, relaxing, calming stones. And whether or not you believe in the energy of those, they're really nice to look at. And they
I
can
actually,
calm you.
maybe I'll take a picture before we're done of what I'm looking at right now. I have crystals and oils right in front of me right here
Yeah,
because I just every now and then I'll just grab like this is a rose quartz heart. Like maybe I'll just
yeah,
sometimes I just feel like I need to grab it while I'm talking to somebody, or
yeah.
sometimes when I'm having a little stressful conversation, I need to look at this guy, the little jade peace sign that I've got in my at my
That's
desk, right?
perfect.
Because I'm with you. I think it helps. I think it helps. And certainly I think the oils for sure help.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just nature's medicines. They're
They
not
really are. And
right.
I use a lot of flower essences with my clients as well. Flower essences are made approximately the same way essential oils are, but instead of taking them externally, these are for internal use, flower
Okay.
essences. And like you're talking, I've been sitting here holding my selenite. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I bet
I hold my selenite quite a bit. There you go.
Yep. This is my magic wand.
Yes.
My selenite wand.
But selenite has it looks nice and it has a nice calming energy to it as well. So, I mean, those are some things that can be helpful for women
And
at work.
even if you have to, if you're listening to this and you're like, really, even if it just shifts your energy, right? Like even if you don't fully believe this selenite wand is going to do everything, just by like looking at it, picking it up. Sometimes I'll
Mhm.
even rub it with a little essential oil and have like keep it in my hand and feel have the essential oil. It just the act of doing it alone, whether or not you believe the selenite's doing anything, the act
Right.
of the pattern interrupt of picking up the piece of selenite and holding on to it while you're having this conversation could shift your energy a little bit. Could start to shift your energy.
Yes, very, very much so. And like I mentioned earlier, the stones are nice to look at. So when they're pleasant to look at, your stress level goes down regardless. if you believe in the energy of the stones or not. When we
Right.
look at something nice, when we look at something pleasant, cortisol levels drop. And during menopause, those cortisol levels are automatically going up, 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 up. And if they could burst through the top of our head, they probably would.
Yeah.
They go so high, which just contributes to the mood swings, the intense rage that a lot of women feel, both in work and at home. It's menopause.
Well, and so some of the things you mentioned, you need if you have a corporate job, you need the company to do, like put in a cooling room, and other things you can do yourself, like buy yourself a little peace sign that you can keep on your desk for those moments of rage where you can, like, peace, Karen, it's peace and love here, the peace and love, peace and love, peace and love.
Yes.
Remember that's what the heart of it all, right? So some of it you can do yourself. So are there changes that I mean, first of all, the conversation alone, the fact that we're having this conversation is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Because these conversations don't happen in corporate. There's no conversations around how do we accommodate menopause for our aging, our midlife women. How do we start those conversations?
Well, businesses, first of all, need to think every single female on the planet, if they live long enough, will hit menopause. Every last one of us.
Right.
And if they don't step up and start addressing it, it affects their bottom line. And businesses are there to make money.
Yeah.
And the more accommodating they are, the more money they'll make.
And some of these things don't really cost a lot, right? It's really just it's the initiative of the business. It's the energy of the business. Does the business want to support this? I'm sure you can find a room, that you can make a cooling room. I'm sure that there can be ways that you can, accommodate somebody that needs a room with more vents or less vents or whatever, right? So most of the stuff isn't going to really cost them anything. We're not asking them to, send their staff to Jamaica every year, we're just saying, it's really about considering it. And we're not even getting that right now. Are you seeing more companies change?
No.
I'm kind of out of that loop. Do you see any change? No change.
Well, the change I do see, is I work with the Maven Clinic, and that's part of what I do. I work for myself and the Maven Clinic. And with the Maven Clinic, they are an add-on resource to your healthcare insurance. Okay. And they're also an added resource that businesses can bring in for their employees. And a place like the Maven Clinic, we work with women from fertility all the way up through menopause. So I talk to a lot of women through the clinic 5 days a week that their place of business have supplied this for them. So even something like this would be absolutely fantastic for women to have somebody that they can talk to about it.
So this is HR incorporating this into like benefits packages, or even healthcare companies incorporating this into their services as an add-on service.
Correct. That would help tremendously. It is very cool.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So what can, so that's one thing companies can start to implement. Are there anything else, like just easy 1, 2, 3 companies can implement? And by the way, when I say companies, I want you to think about your business as a company. If you don't necessarily have a paycheck, like things you can do, like, the vent thing is an easy thing. Buying a fan and keeping it on your desk is an easy thing.
Wearing the cooling clothes for yourself is an easy thing. Right. Making sure that you have flexible work hours would be fantastic. Again, to deal with if somebody does a lot better in the morning with their brain fog, then that's when they should be working in the morning, and then maybe do the rest from their home office. Some type of hybrid. I'm not saying doing everything from home for businesses, because I know they don't want that. With some type of hybrid, it would be fantastic for menopausal women. If men got menopause, this would already be taken care of.
Yeah, no
It's,
kidding. No kidding. No kidding. I was
yeah,
at the pharmacy a couple months ago and I don't care who knows this stuff, but I'm taking HRT right now and they couldn't
good.
get it. And I'm like, if this was Viagra, you'd have a stock full of it in your back thing. She's like, "Oh, I am well aware of that." Like they just couldn't get it. It's a stupid like it's something that they should easily have. And
Yes.
they couldn't find it. They couldn't get it anywhere. I mean, I live in New Jersey, for God's sake. Like it's not like I live in the middle of nowhere where you can't,
Yeah. It's not
can't
like
get
you're
this
living in
stuff.
North Dakota, you
Right,
know?
right. Like it's, I'm not, so I'm not asking you to bring it to the middle of Canada somewhere. Like but they didn't have access to it.
Wow.
Right. So, and I literally was like, and I was just literally said to the woman who I did not know at all. I was like, if this was Viagra, you'd have a stock of it. She's like, "Oh, I am very well aware of that."
100%.
So it's nuts. But here's the thing. I so we talked a lot about the accommodations. I kind of want to go
Mhm.
back to the mind body stuff though, because I do think, and I'm just going to it's my podcast. We're going to make this all about me. For me, the biggest challenge is the brain fog, is the productivity, is like
Yeah.
I've managed a lot of the physical symptoms. I've managed God bless, I sleep well,
Good.
like I hope that continues. But the brain fog is a thing. And, I don't want to just, it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole of what about this supplement and what about that supplement,
Right.
or maybe I need to, maybe I need to meditate more. And, it's a thing. And I remember as I'm doing, as I sit at my computer to get things done, I sit there and think sometimes like, if I was 30, this would have been done already, like, why
Yeah.
can't I focus on this? Like, why can't I focus on this? What can we do about that?
Well, if you're not taking hormone replacement therapy, upping your estrogen or progesterone can help with that, with the brain
Yeah.
fog. But if like myself, I'm not doing any hormones. Unfortunately, my immediate family history is it's not conducive to any of us to be able to take it. So we've had to find other ways. Um, I have changed my diet considerably. I have, which saddens me because I love my sugar
Mhm.
and I loved my glass of wine before I went to bed at night. Those little things, and I take neither. I do neither now. I've cut sugar completely out of my life.
Wow.
Which, thank God, I do live by. I do live alone because if anyone would have lived with me without sugar to begin with, God help them. My cats were like, "What is going on with that woman?" Um, so
Yeah.
I grew up on sugar. I mean, sugar was the first thing we would have in the morning. So it's been a big
Yeah.
part of my life. But taking and ultra processed foods is another thing that helps contribute to the brain fog. So we have to cut down on the sugar. We have to cut down on the alcohol. We have to cut down on the ultra processed foods and bring in whole foods. It's not as easy, I know, to make a meal out of whole foods than it is to pull something out of the freezer and throw it into the microwave.
Yeah.
And I'm all about ease. I keep
Yeah.
joking. I keep joking with my mom. I'm going to make a cookbook of easy whole food menopausal recipes
I
that women
want
can
that
just
book. I want that book. I just ordered today. I just ordered one of those meal kits again. Like, cause I'm like,
yeah.
well, I mean, cause I'm at the end of the day, I'm tired and I don't want to cook. I love to cook, but I don't want to cook dinner. And I just ordered like the meal kit so I can have, 2 or 3 nights a week. I've got options for just making some real food, as
Yeah.
opposed to ordering pizza.
Yeah, I used to use HelloFresh quite a bit.
Mhm.
That was the meal kit I used, and the food was great. The nutritional value was great.
Yeah.
I just have learned. I forced myself. I figure since I'm certified in functional integrative nutrition, that I better learn how to also cook it.
Well, you can learn how to cook it and still, make your life simpler by doing, by
Yes,
getting some help with it. So
yes,
I'm going to
yes,
give you, I'm going to say, there's both things can be true.
yes, yes, they can,
Both
and
things can be true.
that's true about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Both things can be true based on your perspective.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is the food.
Yeah.
Um, switching around food, and whether you like exercise or not, it's still important, and
Yeah.
it does help with the brain fog. Even if you're doing something as small as I do hula hoops every day. I look
Ah,
ridiculous.
I love hula hoops.
I look ridiculous, but it helps. me.
That's
And my
awesome.
brain, yeah. So that's
That's
something else
awesome.
somebody else can try. Anything cardio is good for you, your brain fog.
Okay, fair.
Yeah,
All right. Well, it sounds like, there's no one size fits
no,
all here, which is
of course.
why I love the work that you do. So tell us a little bit about that. Like, I there's doctors, but some of them are, and most of the, by the way, any doctor I've found that will have these conversations with me
Mhm.
do not take any insurance. And
No.
most of the insurance companies do not pay out a network for those kinds of things. So so this is a privileged person thing to do, to be able to pay. I mean, I had a doctor, I would pay $700 every time I went to her,
Yeah.
like that. Not everybody can do that. And, I live in northern New Jersey, and out right outside of New York City, and I am actively looking for somebody that will take my insurance, that will have these conversations with me, and I still haven't found one.
Good luck.
Yeah,
I say that because only about 5 years ago, the medical school started teaching about menopause.
yeah,
Only about 35% of the medical schools, and we're only a weekend seminar. So we haven't even graduated to a full class yet.
yeah. So if somebody that's listening that's going, okay, I think I need to talk to this Allie person. Tell me a little bit about how you work with people.
Oh, well, there are three different ways I work with people. I guess the simplest way, I suppose, would be to get what I call a menopause audit. You come to my site, you pay for an audit, you fill out a form. I go through your form via video. I record a video for you, go through each of your concerns and give you paths that you can take with those concerns.
Okay.
Um, you can also get what I call a menopause wellness appointment, which is just like sitting down with your doctor.
Right.
We go over what's going on. I can order tests if necessary. We can check different levels of hormones and anything else that may be going on with you, and proceed accordingly with that as well. And then lastly, I do have a 6-month coaching package, which I take people through the Thrive framework so that, menopause, it's an adjustment.
Mhm.
Okay. But there's no reason why you can't thrive through it.
Right.
Okay. So those three
Right.
ways.
Tell us about the Thrive framework.
Well, there's 6 different pillars, and I start with nutrition.
Okay.
Tailored nutrition is the first one, and it's important to get that base first before we launch
Mhm.
into anything else. Anything
Right.
about hormones or intimacy or emotions or mental. We have to make sure that you're eating correctly, and usually that's the hardest part
I bet.
of anything. So that's why it's tackled first and not last in my
Right.
framework. But we talk several times. We talk several times a month. You
Right.
get things to do, diets, recipes for all of that, and instructions as we go along. And it's tailored to each person. So I say what I would do for you, Karen. It's not something I would do for somebody else.
Right.
Their
Right.
Thrive plan might look completely different.
Right. Right. And I know a lot of the work that you do is related to sexual wellness as well. Does that include
Yeah.
all of that as well? Like, how things are going regardless of where you fall on that spectrum of what you're up to?
Well, the I pillar in Thrive, that's about intimacy.
Okay.
So we tackle intimacy there, and I use my She Be Me framework. So I have a
Mhm.
framework in a framework for menopause, if that makes sense. I do help women just with intimacy. That seems to be their largest hurdle right
Right.
now, and that's just strictly the She Be Me
Right.
framework right there. But I have frameworks for everything because I like things to be organized. And
I love that about you, Allie. I
yeah.
love that about you. All right. Well, where can people get started? Where can people start to learn more about
Oh,
Allie and the work that you do so that they can see if it feels like a fit to dive in? Because honestly, I think when I think back to how much freaking money I have spent on doctors, and I had a doctor one time, and this guy did take insurance, and he happens to be less than probably a mile away from me now. But I will go back to him because all he did was give me this list of supplements, and I mean a list. And I was like, I can't afford the supplement. Like I remember my niece went to him one time. My sister called me. She goes, I don't know. My Jenna went to this doctor, and she came back, and she had this list of supplements. I was like, hold on. was it this guy? And she's like, yes, that was him. How did you know? I go, I've been to him. And I was like, dude, pick 4. Like pick
Yeah.
4 and I'll take them. But there's
Yeah.
no way I'm taking these 12 supplements, right? So like I have spent an enormous amount of money over the years on all the different flavors of how to come to where I am. And I'm probably going to continue to do that. But I feel like as I get better at learning what my body needs and doesn't need, I'm getting better at it. Right. But it would certainly have, had I done something like met you 10, 15, 20 years ago or 15 years ago, I would probably have spent a whole lot less money.
Probably. And you probably would have felt better sooner.
Yeah, sooner, right? So and maybe, maybe not have gained billions of pounds and then try to figure out how do you get rid of them. And then all the fun things that come with, every new year that comes up in your life, right? I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I want to be healthy. I have all these kids and grandkids that I want to play with, and I want to feel good about it and not be like the grandma sitting on the couch because I'm miserable and sick and,
And
so how can they start to learn a little bit more about you so that they don't have to wait as long as I waited?
Sure. Well, my website is menopausewellness.co. So you can find out more information about me there. I'm also on TikTok, menopausewellness.co, as well as Instagram.
And we'll link all that stuff.
Yeah, same handle for all 3. But that is how you can get to know me. You can also visit the Passion Zone if you're more interested in intimacy, thepassionzone.com. And I have TikTok and Instagram for that as well. And then there is a newsletter that pops up if you'd like to be part of the weekly newsletter. I send out menopause wellness tips, and I talk about intimacy, and I throw in aphrodisiacs because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to do. Yes. But that's how you can find out more about me. And please reach out anytime if you have a question about what I do or how I can help.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what's coming up for you? What's coming up in the next 6 months, year? What do we have to look forward to in the Allie Theiss world?
Well, we have to look forward to me creating more classes. I'm going to create some more menopause classes, some more intimacy classes for the Passion Zone. I'm going to be putting together a workbook for workplace to help you at your workplace. Perfect. So I'm putting that together as well. I'm expanding my knowledge, and everything that I learn, I'm going to be putting into the businesses to help other women.
And if I'm a woman that works at a workplace that I think can use some help, are you available for consultations for those kinds of things too?
Absolutely. Awesome. Just reach out.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. I mean, listen, you never know, right? If you're listening to this and you think your workplace could benefit by some of this, doesn't hurt to make the introduction to Allie and see if, the conversations is where it all happens, right? You have to have the conversation to get started. What's the quote? If you don't ask, the answer is always no. Right. So
absolutely. Yes.
Right. So awesome. Allie, this has been great. This has been so good because we have to talk more about this. We have to talk more about this because in order for me to reach my goal of seeing more wealthy women in the world, we need to be able to do this in a way that we're not beating ourselves up all the time because we're not achieving what we want to achieve because of the brain fog or because we didn't sleep or because we had a hot flash in a meeting that we had to walk out in the middle of,
Right.
These are things that are going to happen. So we need to be able to talk about it so that we have a plan for what we do. And we can, once you have a plan, you're always going to be surprised by it, right? Like no one's planning for the hot flash, but when you have a plan for what happens when you have it, then it makes it, it makes your life and your business just run more smoothly. And
it does. Can I run something past you before we end?
Yes, please.
A few more minutes.
Yes.
I've been thinking about putting together a one-woman show to go up on stage, which is completely outside my comfort zone, but what the heck, to talk about menopause, the different symptoms, and then have people ask me questions so that when they come in, you can write down a question and put it in a bin or something. I don't know yet. And then I draw the questions as I go along. Do you think that would be something helpful to women? It's just something.
Yes, there's so many levels. When you say one woman show, like I kind of picture you on on a stage at like a improv place, which I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. But I think there's a lot of different ways you could do that. You could do that as a podcast. You know what I mean? There's so many ways you can do that because I think Yeah, I love that. And you can do it you can almost offer like short conversations. Allie knows how to tweak my strategy brain, you
Yeah, I
guys.
do.
So you could even have like short conversations with people, like put out something that says, hey, I want to have 50 conversations before the end of the year with women that are, experiencing this. And these conversations can be anonymous or not. But I love the idea of the question. But the problem with the question is there's not an opportunity for a follow-up question. Right. Like
Correct.
I like conversation a little bit better than just the question, because then they can put the question and then maybe say, here's my question. Here's my, email if you want to have a conversation about this or something. Because I feel like sometimes you might need to ask a qualifying question to be able to fully answer their question.
Right.
Right.
Well, if they put their name on the form, I can always call them up.
Right. That's what I love the idea. And I love the idea though about making it public in a way that it helps other people, because they're not the only person that had that question, of course. Right.
Absolutely. And I forgot about my podcast. I do have a podcast.
I
forgot all about it.
I think the longest running spiritual based podcast on the internet is
yes, that was Ask Allie. That was the longest for over 19 seasons. But I have Menospark, which deals with menopause.
Okay. So why don't you test this idea out on Menospark? Test it out there. And you know what I mean? Like put something out on LinkedIn, put something out on TikTok, put something out all over the place and say, give me your questions. Like I would pick a number, like I'd say 50, but if it turns out to be 100 or 25, it doesn't matter. Like I want to have 50 different conversations about questions that you have about menopause before the end of the year, because this is going to inspire the work I do in 2026. Right. And then find a way, like test it and like have the conversation on different places. Like you can go live on TikTok or go live on, you know what I mean? Or have a video on, or you can go live on LinkedIn with some of these people, or you can just have a private conversation that you can, ask them if they can share, you can share parts of it on your podcast, right? Or in social media posts. Like you can test different things, or you can literally have like a menopause salon, connect with somebody locally that has a hair salon or a yoga studio or something. And spend some time hanging out with ChatGPT and come up with some fun ideas of what, listen, I feel like I'm certainly in your demographic. And I feel like if I thought I was going to sit in a room full of people that were like smart women that were all trying to figure it out, I'd be there, but I need to see that. Cause the other part of it is I'm much more choosy about where I spend my time.
Yes.
Right. So I'm not going to just go because it's an intriguing topic. I'm going to go if I'm like, wait, what? Like this is a world renowned that you are world renowned, Allie. You've got, millions of podcast episodes out there and books and all this work, and you're local to me and you're going to host this salon, and there's going to be, and I would be, by the way, picky about, I would charge for it because you want people to be invested in showing up, not because you want, listen, of course you can make it a profit center, but more than making it a profit center, I love the idea of just making sure that the people are coming are invested in being there.
Yeah. And if you pay for something, you show up.
Right. Yeah. Right. I think there's a lot of great things you can do with that. And I think we need something like that. We need more conversations around these things. And let me tell you something. If there was a yoga studio around here that was offering like menopause salons in the evening, that's the yoga studio I'd want to go to, because I'm like, oh wait, is this like, am I going to be, I don't care if I'm the oldest person in the room. I care if everybody else has got their feet behind their head and I can barely do a down dog, so I'm going to feel more comfortable in a space where I'm surrounded by other women who are, in the same season of life that I'm in, for these kinds of conversations and for these kinds of things. I think it's brilliant.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think you should do it. And anybody that wants, by the way, to come to one of Allie's salons virtually or in person, send Allie a message on LinkedIn. We'll put her LinkedIn thing in there so that you could be invited to the salons when she creates them. How does that sound? Is that okay with you, Allie?
That sounds wonderful.
Assuming that's okay with you.
Yeah, it's good. Yes.
I love it. Okay. What a great way to end the show. This has been great. I can't wait to see what you're doing. These are conversations we need to be having. And honestly, your voice, especially in the world we're living in right now, everybody is I feel like we're in, no matter where you are on the we're in the world spectrum of physically, age-wise, whatever, you're
Mhm.
experiencing trauma right now. I truly believe that. And I think that we need to really center ourselves and know who and what we are so that we can show up as our best selves in this crazy world that we live in right now. So I think this is all a part of that.
Yes.
So thanks for doing what you do, Allie.
And thanks for having me here, Karen. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Well, I appreciate you being here. And as usual, we'll be back next week with another episode. Make sure you're connected to me on LinkedIn. Make sure you're connected to Allie on LinkedIn. Share this episode with your audience. Tag me, tag Allie. We both have thriving social media audiences. We'll share them, your post that you shared this with our audiences. So that's how we start to expand our intimate networks to get to in a very targeted way, right? We're not just out there splashing to everybody. You listened to it, you liked it, you think your network would like it. And that's how we all start to help each other. So I am excited to see what's next for you, Allie. And thank you so much for doing this with us today.
Thank you, Karen.